Mr. Chitumba, how are you, sir? Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Vatanda.
Ukwai?
Mulifia bwino.
Tulive wino tukashinga mulengo mfwa.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Fantastic. Fantastic. How's the weather that side?
Yeah, the weather here, it's cool.
Okay.
How have you been a long time?
Oh, it's been a it's been a long time indeed. You know,
Yeah.
we were off for a couple of weeks and twawera futi, you know? And yeah, it was for a good reason, you know, maybe good or bad, but you know, we lost our former president.
Yeah, that which was
Yeah.
bad.
It was bad, you know. We lost the former. He was the sixth president, and then you know, the funerals continued from 2 weeks now. So we're just seeing like, why has it, been like that? And so many questions.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
many
yeah,
questions.
yeah. Yeah, so many
Mhm.
questions.
Uh-huh. I don't know how the mood is there. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the movie
Which province did you say you're in?
Eastern Province.
East. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Where
Yeah,
exactly?
Petauke.
Oh, the one that he used to call it at Peta UK.
Petauke.
Okay. So how things in Peta UK?
Yeah, things here is moving fine. I think people now, I think life, yeah, much. I
Uh-huh.
think people they are the high expectation, and so I think people they have moved on. Everyone is busy with their own businesses. They're just moving up and down. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. So everybody's just moving on with their own lives. I mean, it's yeah, okay. Yeah. So what
Exactly.
about the period of the morning? What was happening? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Welcome, Mr. Danny. How are you?
I'm good. Let me just show you what I'm doing out here.
Oh, show me, show me. Okay.
Today, you have to meet Chopo. I'm on Chopo.
Ready, Michopo?
Koma.
Eh?
Now, Mushibo, you.
Awe. Ni wanani hapa?
Bachangana, you manda badero.
Ah, nga mwasanga na shani.
No.
Eh? Mwasanga na shani bane.
Today, I'm a
Mwasanga na
T-bone.
shani.
Today, I'm a T-bone. Not too much about it. You call about.
Eh,
Nakabali.
eh.
Natubalwa.
Eh, eh. Nga mwasanga na shani babiri. Question.
You have always been true. About UPND, never done. Toronto. So when he came back from Puerto Rico, I had to see my big man. Now she name Saru and I did the T-bone.
Eh. Serious?
He's a very good chef.
That's good. That's what we need. That's what we need. We need them a chef. Eh? Babomba kanji. Babomba sana. Ah, kwaliwo bwali kulungula na imwe. Eh? Kwaliwo bwali kulungula. I don't think kwaliwo kulungusha obwali.
Watch very bent. But musari watch wamo. Musari. The Soweto market.
Ya Soweto.
Soweto market. What is the garden? Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, mwalira ku garden kanshi.
Yeah.
No, but wait.
Tulelosha badani balelira badani fo tulelosha kuno.
Fwe tule ya matiboni kuno wama ya matiboni tule. Pachiliro kulia. Kulia pamaliro.
Echo chave yapo echiliro. Chiliro kulia. Ngatamuleria pachiliro ni chalaba shaji.
Yeah, I know.
Echiliro kushashani kulia muntu lyonsa lingira alya pachiliro. Alanda to echiliro kashali kweta amano chili. Kwali bafya abantu abayape mukulia ve pachiliro.
Yeah.
Encho ya wado. Waleta imasa nkwito kuli chiliro.
Yeah.
Vaya mukulia. On a more serious note. So on a more serious note. Not we Shiva, we've had this issue of Valet President Lungu, may he so rest in peace, that passed away. And we wish, or we send our messages to the family, the immediate family, the Lungu family, condolences. And that said, of course, there's so many things that have happened in between that we actually need to discuss, because we cannot not keep quiet to certain issues, and we cannot keep a blind eye. Or as Zambians, naturally, we're living in a free speech society where we need to put in our 2 cents in issues like this of national importance, especially for the diaspora and obviously people in Zambia. So it just so happened that the funeral was scheduled, and the repatriation of the body was supposed to be done on that should have been a Wednesday. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the family, after negotiations, they were going in back and forth with the family. Oh, yes, this, no, this one. And the first statement, that Makebi Zulu, their family lawyer, I don't know if it's a family spokesperson or family lawyer or family spokesperson, he said the former president's wish was no way that the current president should reach or be near his body if he dies. Now, that's a very concerning statement, because they are saying this is the wish of what he said, and he said it to the family, and he's telling us Zambians. Now, I don't understand where the whole debacle is, because omuntu ng'olefwa nshayishiba abantu nshafuwa point, but we can only imagine, when you're about to meet the Lord and God, your maker, you're about to go and meet your maker. I think talking about your enemies is the last thing that you actually will be thinking about. I don't think young guys are in Congo, $2,000 I don't think that's what you'll be thinking about on your deathbed. Just to generalize it and just to look at it at a different perspective. But ilifika wakati to our ears to say he didn't want HH to be near the body or the HH to attend the funeral. So that's where the confusion is. But after they said, okay, we've finally agreed, and then Patrick Kangwa said that this we've agreed, the body will arrive, and then the president, this is the program. He mentioned the program, how it's going to be there. The day of repatriation, Vasashani, they refused. They didn't. They held on to the body. They say, okay, no way. We're not coming to Zambia. Now, after giving that backdrop, I would like to listen to Vachtumba, since you are there in Zambia. Give us your opinion and give us your 2 cents on this one and how the people are feeling right now. What's the current situation? What's the current environment?
Okay. Thank you very much, Bachanda. And first of all, let me first pass my condolences, I think, to the Lungu's family and the entire Zambia. Yes. First of all, maybe I'll give a bit of background. Maybe how I knew Mr. Edgar Chagwa. Yes, I think going back, because when I completed the school, I think that was 2010. Then I moved from Copperbelt to Lusaka. By then, I registered as a voter from Luansha. I was supposed to vote from Luansha. And I think by then, I was supporting Michael Stulfiasata. I came to know Michael Sata looking at how MMD treated the PF. Back then in Luansha, I think they treated Shimbakambwiri badly. That's when I came now to know PF and also Shimbakambwiri. So when I moved, I didn't vote. That was in 2011 because I moved to Lusaka. So in Lusaka, I was working there as a garden boy. So I came to know the late president, Mr. Lungu, because my friend was working. I think by Esther and Edgar, they had a shop in Chawama, which is John Howard. There was a shop, and then my friend was working from there. He used to make my chipsy, mayaya. Yes, somewhere there. So I usually used to go that side. Then he was showing, no, this is Mr. Lungu, the wife, and now me, I'm working for the wife. And then the mother to that friend who was working for Valungu also was the maid kunganda kuli Valungu. So I used to know all those. That's when I came to know Mr. Lungu and everything. Until PF came into power, they became, I think Mr. Lungu was appointed as a minister, and then they moved from there, from Chawama, I think, to the government house. And then also the mother to my friend also was moved to continue working as a maid that side. Until from there, I went to school. Then later on, I think the time I was school, I think we lost the president, Michael Sata. Yeah, we supported Mr. Lungu, I think, during that by-election, although I didn't vote because I registered from Copper Belt. Until in 2020, I think that was 2016, we voted for him because of that interaction that we had. I knew him, even in terms of maybe the behavior and everything. And also, I think there was that conversation to say, the husband and the wife, all those conversation I think we used to share with the same one who was working from there. So that's when I supported Mr. Lungu until maybe things started like changing. Then I said, I came to realize that I think this is not, you are not going into the right direction after 2016. And then when you remember how Mr. Lungu, I think, ruled the country from, I think, 2016 to 2021, it was brutal. By then, I moved from Lusaka to Eastern Province. And we know everything, what was happening, what happened. We saw. It's not me that maybe we are born yesterday, no. We know what happened in MMD, we know what happened in PF, and everything that they did, we know. We had there was a by-election which was in, I think, in Western Province. We know what happened to HH. Copper Belt, where there was interview, we know what happened. That treason case, we know what happened. Those cases, I think, where we lost in Samansama, that student from Unza, those pupils, we know what everything that what happened. And then that during election, here in Eastern Province, you know what happened when I think HHS came to Eastern Province, and then when he was going back, there was tear gas because where I stay is near with the main road, which is goes to Lusaka, Grace East Road. So there was a lot of tear gas, which is by then when HH was passing. Yeah, the reason why I'm explaining this because I want to build up to this today's issues. And then now 2021 came. I think even here in Eastern, because when the time when I came here, things was not okay. I was able to hear from the ground. It's the Eastern Province, but I used to hear from the ground to say, I think people, they are not happy with the Edgar Zungu government because of what was happening. Not in here in town, but deep in Diora there. Then I came to realize, I think there's a problem here. And that's when I knew that PF will not make it in 2021. Because people used to talk, we used to speak, to say, this is what is happening, is not good. It was bad. We are there, we experienced, unless those people were in government, they've never experienced that. Yes, they can say that. But as we saw it, it was not easy. And me, I even vowed to say, if PF win in 2021, also I'll become a cadre, so that we continue enjoying together. That is what that was what was happening. It was bad. Then now, after elections, he lost power. After losing power, he resigned, came back into politics, whatever, everything happened, then we lost him. For me, I thought that was opportunity, I think, maybe to reflect, especially on the part of the PF. PF, sorry to say this, is very stubborn. Just truth be told, is very stubborn. And the time when the Red came back into politics, I said, this is a big mistake that they're going to make. And looking at the level of mingling, the Red president, he was mingling with the former MPs, former ministers. That was not the level of the president. That is where he was getting the advice from. Automatic from that, it was reduced. That was not the level of the late president, because the office that the late president held, it was the highest level in the country. So he reduced himself to that level. That's why this is what happened today. It has happened because of that. Then it happened. And when I think you remember I think the first time when I came on this program, I said Zambia will be the first country to go to hell because we are pretenders. If me, I say I'm a Christian, especially during a funeral, even those people that I was not talking to them, those people that never knew, they will come. They will come to mourn with my families. They will come to console, even if we quarreled. But during that time, they have to come. And if I say, me, I'm a Christian, how can I say when I die, I don't want this person to come to my funeral or to near to my body? How can I say that? And I'm saying I'm a Christian, I'm going to the road with a condition. No. So I think you have to face with a reality. And I thank the president. He was so patient until he declared the national mourning over because of what was happening. And that what happened, it was imbalancing. Imbalance in our country, imbalance in our government, imbalance in also the South African government, which was not good. Now, what happened during that? We are going to wash our dirty linen in public. And then what are we painting? If someone dies, that person will not talk, will not speak, will not do anything. It happened. Me, I saw it when the time they were announcing. That's when I sensed the danger to say, where you are going, things are not okay. Because that one was a former president. And when it happened, the family, the first thing they were supposed to inform the government announced. But what happened, they first go and see the PF and the daughter to go and announce that death. That's when I came to to realize to say, yes,
Machumba.
Machanda. Yes,
I think
Machanda.
don't review everything right now. Let's bring in Vadani so that it gives his perspective, so that we have a coherent conversation. You
Okay,
know?
okay.
Yeah, the program is still going on. So let's. Vadani,
Your
he's
time.
enjoying his keyboard.
It's your time now.
Now, Yotam is there. You know, my brother Yotam, Navadani. Oh, this is good.
Yeah.
This is good. This is
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah. So my perspective is that I don't think Zambia will be the first country to go to hell. It's Nigeria. So we won't go in that perspective. But I do agree with you with what you said. There's so much hypocrisy with the Lungu, the PF government. Sorry, the PF people, not the government, because they are out of power.
Yep.
Yeah. So it kind of I don't, but I would say maybe appear for Nimbwa. Sorry to say that. But
Yeah.
probably people are listening. Okay, yeah. Sorry, you may have to say that, and the reason why I said that is because, like, they want to use this funeral.
Mwaweta dini mapopi.
Because they wanted to use the funeral to get back, and they failed. Lamentably failing. When you go on social media, you will see the comments. And I understand things are bad in our country. There's no credible opposition in our country right now. And trying to be maybe to bringing a balanced view. This was an opportunity the PF would have come back on, but you know what? They messed it up big time. Big time, and our leader showed maturity and leadership.
That's true.
And
That's true.
we had issues like, okay, Shanshani, I'm resolved to vote for HH and campaign for him. The thing we wanted to do is not perfect, but when you look out there, there's no one. When Ari Karava went on live saying nonsense, like, You're a foreign affairs minister. You know how these things work. You know, and that guy, like, you know, I have no time. Mao Sampa is even worse.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want to comment like you're Judas. And you could see the comments when our president made that speech. You know, former president of PF mocking Mao Sampa. And today you're saying, oh, you know what? You know what I want to say was that, you know, HH showed leadership in a big way.
Yep.
And Zambians are sold. There's no party that will come back from this. And I hope the by-election in Munia's Zulu will win because of this. And I hope our president would go and campaign there. Yeah. So anyway, that's my perspective, Vachanda. I will give it to Vadani.
Vadani, give us your perspective, Vadani. I know you got a lot of things to say and review.
For me, as my young brother here, Yotama, said, the PF Tonse Alliance looked at this funeral as a springboard for their comeback. They wanted to use this as a springboard to activate their base. They wanted people to be activated, to go into that political charged environment. Everyone should come in large numbers. Everyone should line up. Everyone should do this. You know, they thought the whole country is gonna rise and, you know, to their cause of, you know, political activation, but it nothing. People were activated the first day. They went to that secretariat of theirs. They ran out of water, food, and there was one toilet, and so it didn't work out. There was nothing there. It was chaos, and people had things. The cars were broken into. People lost. Yeah, people were all just doing this. Dancing sexually, whatever. These women were just doing stupid things. So it didn't work. But the leadership of Tonse, the Lubinda in particular, really wanted to charge the people to start rising against the government, start slogans against HH and all that, but it didn't work. People didn't follow his EU motives. And then it comes to the barrio and the demands that they wanted. The main issue is you cannot have a private and state funeral at the same time. You can't combine the two.
No.
It's either a private funeral or a state funeral.
That's it.
You can't say, okay, I'm gonna do half of the funeral is gonna be private, half of it will be state. No, it can't happen.
It doesn't happen like that.
What they were trying to imply that half of the procession should be done by the government and half of it by the family. That is not possible. Actually, Winter Kabimba said it in the beginning. He said these demands they are giving, nothing will come out of this. There's no way you can have a funeral which is half private, half state run, whatever, state funeral. It will not happen. And really, it didn't go through because there's no way you can have that type of arrangement where you say, okay, we're going to determine. You have a program and you don't even know who's going to speak. And you say we have reached an agreement. No, because they had agreed, no, there'll be someone who's going to talk, there's someone who's going to preach, but we don't know who's going to talk. We have to agree when that time comes. And when the government says HH is going to speak, they say, no, we didn't agree that HH is going to speak. But you said you left that space empty. You didn't specify who's going to welcome the body, who's going to talk when the body arrives at international airport. And when the government filled in the blanks, they pulled out. They said, no, that's not what we agreed upon. So there's something fishy, something big behind the resistance. It's not a matter of Lungu said, I don't want HH near or whatever. There's something more than what the eye can see here. There's something behind
Yeah.
this resistance.
Something more.
There's something
What- what-
more.
what-
Yes.
we're going to go there, but Daddy.
Yeah.
Right now we're joined by our brother Brian Sakala.
Okay.
Brian Sakala, just introduce yourself and where you're joining us from.
Yeah, thanks, Chanda. My name is obviously Brian Sakala. I'm based in London, Ontario.
London,
And
Ontario.
yeah,
London,
yeah,
Ontario.
yes. Yeah.
What? I'm in Kitchener.
Oh,
Where
yeah, in
are you in
Kitchener.
Toronto, Ontario right now?
We are all close. That's why we need to congregate every Saturday here.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
London,
Right.
Ontario.
Yeah.
We both lived there for a long time.
Yes. I went to
Oh,
in
wow.
I went to
Interesting.
Scott Fan Show. I went to Scott Fan
Oh,
Show.
you went to Fanshawe? Interesting. So, you must know there's an aunt here. What's her name? That's going to bother me now.
Chimuka.
No, Hazel.
Yes,
Mahezo.
Auntie Hezo, Baezo.
Yeah.
Hazel.
Baezo, I think ten mwalile kona kuli Baezo.
Yeah.
Mahezo, just at the funeral, just at the father-in-law, mother-in-law.
Yeah, in Toronto, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the last time I talked to her because we were going to see Mashina and the Brian
Okay.
from Newton. Yeah, so
Oh, Branch Chanda. Okay.
yes, yeah. So we were supposed to go to his place, but then the funeral came, so that was the last time I talked to her.
Okay.
Oh no, I think I've met these guys. I think I've met you, Sakala. Did you come to Femi's place at one time?
Yeah, to get carpenter. Was that?
I think I met.
To get carpenter.
Yes, I imagine that's why I also could telegram send that carpenter. Huh?
Yeah. I think I met at
Okay.
Femi's place.
Okay.
Elo ni kame dana Kenya.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good then. That was good.
Came from London came to get this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm,
I remember.
Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, so it was a quick one. Yeah. hmm
Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I guess that's the intro. I guess my intro has been done.
Uh-huh. So we're
Yeah.
talking about the Lungu, and
Yes. Yeah.
the topic, the topic of the day is is his legacy. Is it going to be looked at as a legacy, or it's going to be looked at something like a dented legacy
Hmm.
because of what's happening right now? Because every past president that twakwata mu Zambia, from the last,
Mhm.
from Dr. Kaunda, twakwata kona Bachiruba, Mwanawasa, Rupia Banda, we can go back and draw back from their legacies to say this is what they did, and this is if you had to go back, if any international organization or any international country comes, they say this is where they lay, this is where it is. But with Edgar Lungu, he wants, or according to the family, to be on his own, even to be buried in a foreign land. That's an option for them. They would rather do that other than just for the sake of HH not attending the funeral. I think it's about, that's what it is. So we're just trying to build up
Yeah.
and think, yeah.
hmm
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I think first of all, I think when you talk about legacy, um, well, there's two things like what it did for the country, and also like as just a former head of state. In
Mm,
terms of what it did for the country, I think the discourse even during his funeral was kind of demonstrated that not all is forgotten and forgiven. Like that tenure, his second tenure, like how things got out of hand. I
mm,
think that is still in a lot of people's memories, and I don't think he was gonna be remembered as like, oh, he did this. Like even the infrastructure thing,
mhm,
most people don't really bring that up. And obviously, with all this debacle with the funeral, I think his legacy is even tarnished, even more. I think because of the way they're handling the funeral.
mhm,
But I think in terms of the whole confusion, I think to me it's more like there's two things, right? One, maybe they want to use the funeral to bargain a deal over something. We don't know. It's possible as well. But also, if we're talking about hatred, they have hatred for HH. Like I just find, like, I know they don't like him, but I just find it hard that they would go to this length to not even bring the body. I just think they just want some form of control in a way where, like, they just want to use this situation to say, hey, maybe gain some sympathy and trying to overrule the government. Because I think in the past there used to be situations where, like, Vaisangwa Kuchilido, and there's never really been that issue. But now we're seeing a situation where they just want to drag this so that they use, like, just look at Venashon Tembo, Venalubinda. Like, if these guys were really mourning the former, like, they wouldn't be behaving the way they are, right? Because they're turning this into just a political issue. Like, they just want some form of, like, relevancy. That's why I think so. Two sides. It could be they want
Yeah.
some form of relevancy and control, and spin the narrative so they get more sympathy, or there's something hiding that they want to use this to get by. Mhm.
Yeah, those are good points, and those are relevant points. I think what you're bringing out to the table is it's what is on every Zambian's mind.
Mhm.
People are saying, they're questioning to say, "Chinchi kanchi chitika." Why is all of a sudden ichiriro chichava kwati a bargaining chip? Okay, why do you want to hold Zambia at ransom?
Yeah.
Why do you want to use the UPND or abuse the UPND government? Here, because the government has said, look, we're going to give you a state funeral. Okay? With me, if my father was Edgar Lungu, I'll be happy. I would like, oh, okay, yeah. I want my father to be buried where, fact, this country, and then a state funeral. I wouldn't want my father to be buried in a foreign land with no state funeral, okay, with no 21 gun salute. Well, those things, they just happen once in a while.
Yeah. What I find interesting is
Mhm.
the fact that they'll go ahead and bury him there. Like, is it confirmed? Like, is the South African
I don't
government
think
going
it's
to allow
confirmed.
that?
I don't think it's confirmed. I don't think it's confirmed, and I don't think the government of South Africa will, confirm something like that
Yeah,
because.
actually, on that one, I think I was reading the headline on ZNBC.
Mm,
I think the government responded to say, I think the government didn't receive official communication from South African government to
yeah,
say
yeah.
they're going to bury him that side.
No,
There
I
was
mean
no official
no.
communication.
So the way, because the way these things work is, you're dealing with it's not just a Kambwanga like me. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
me, you can bury me anywhere in the world, right? But if you're looking at ECL, who was a former president of a country, there are certain things that need to be followed, and there are certain guidelines that are put in place, country to country, looking at international relationships and international, we have those kind of things. And even the constitution itself of South Africa. I was just watching one of the journalists in South Africa was in SABC. He was saying the constitution of South Africa does not allow a former head of state to be buried here. Their constitution itself, it doesn't allow. So I think they missed it. And so I think now this is going to be a very, very, very tricky situation for them, because they will now have to go back to the government to say, oh, I think my government is sorry to our papa, can we come back to Zambia and stuff like that.
So I don't know, Bachanda. I don't know, because this, they've exposed a lot of things. I think the family, they've exposed a lot of things, which is now going on around in people's mind. When we say mu family for the late Mwari Babakuru, where are they? Who's making a decision? Because what it is, they've allowed those people who are not family members to make decisions, like when they're given Ruvinda and those other politicians to make a decisions. And also they don't realize the value of the late president. They are thinking maybe just a mere person. No, it can't work like that.
No.
I don't know where, because me, it's really surprising. And also it's exposing also the rate itself, what type of a person he was when it comes to leadership. So that now this is what is happening during the funeral. It's exposing. And also, I don't know if there was to come and make a decision, because on this part someone should come with a firm decision. No, we have to do ABCD, not what is happening. It's like
No, they don't have. Yeah. Well, looking at the way the family structure is, I know there's daddy so, and but looking at the way the family has always been, it always been Tasila. You know, the daddy's favorite. Okay, so she's always been the one that's been on top and been the favorite. Okay, Kuma family is cool about, oh, my favorite child. I think we can call it Tasila was his favorite child. So when it comes to these issues, obviously, but looking at Tasila, she's not mature enough, or for lack of a better term, you know, that she's not there to make kind of decisions, big decisions like this. You know, so she tends to maybe her mother and her lawyer, which is Makebe Zulu. Her mother obviously shares that hatred of HH, because
that is the problem. That is the problem.
If she was also in charge, or maybe making decisions in all this arrangement, as an elder person, as a mother, I don't think, no matter how bad relationship you had with your friend or the other brother, this is something different. This is a national case. You cannot take it personal. This is not a personal thing, because once a former head of state dies, they don't understand it. Now that it becomes now the government, it's more like a government thing. Okay, I have the constitution here. I'm going to read it so that everybody we're on page, so that nobody misleads anybody. But Danny, can you please tell us or introduce more on this Hod Banco? But Danny, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was listening to Sangwa said there was no law that governs the state funerals in the country. It's not a law, it's just a guidance. It has never been enacted as a law in Zambia. There is some guidance as to how we should hold state funerals, but it's not a law. Like you can't quote it, something like that. That's what I heard him when he was talking on the and then he said, unlike countries like Tanzania have specific laws that forces the current government to act in a certain way when the former president dies or the current president dies. But in Zambia, we don't have such an act. There's no act we can quote
Okay.
as this is the law.
So before we go any further, I think let's put ourselves onto speed so that we are all in agreement with what the laws of Zambia stipulates. So now here I'm quoting the benefits of President Act. Okay, chapter 15 of the laws in Zambia. Okay, so now if you go to section 6, it's there. I mean, everything is on the internet now. You can just go Google if you want, or you can go direct. I went directly to the to the Parliament page and got this chapter 6, where a former president who is entitled to pensions and other benefits, okay, conferred by the acts, while in or after having left office, and his spouse and other children of the family have not attained the age. Now, this gives you details. So this is why I think Venata Sira, they're very upset because they're not going to get anything because they're above the age of 21. This is what it says. Spouse, children, family who have not attained the age of 21 shall be entitled to tax-free monthly pensions rate, 50% of the incumbent, benefits, and all those things. So, because there are two things here. He came back into politics and he died. And the children are above 21. So now it's more like they are looking at themselves to say, Nishwa Chulireva died all this time. Okay? So now they're now just holding into the body to say, maybe we can get something out of this body, or we can put the government onto ransom. I just read section 6. Read the Benefit Act of former president, section 6. It will explain. Everybody should go there and read it so that we're on the same page. It's on the internet. And go ahead, Badani. Hello?
So I was gonna comment on the Sangwa.
Yeah.
The comments that Danny said on Sangwa. I was just gonna comment on that before Danny joins in. I kind of find it like in Zambia we like to change position on issues to fit the narrative, right? I could probably find Sangwa somewhere doing that KK shenanigans with Lungu when they wanted to buy him, like at his farm or whatever else. I could see him coming back and saying, "Oh, he's a former head of state. He deserves a state funeral, right?" I think ultimately, I think every president, even if you look at Mwanawasa as well, there was that issue. Him even left a will. He wanted to be buried at his farm, right? So all these wrangles have been there, where like the government and the family of the former head of state, they want to do things differently, right? They always came to an agreement in the end, but this has always been there, right? I think what we're seeing now is there's just so much like hate or bitterness towards one another. Because if you look at Tasila, she's been going to court, right? They all feel like they're being mistreated. You look at, she had to go to the US, run away to the US, give a child there, come back. They're all in the public eye, attending like court cases. You look at Dariso, you look at their mother as well, all those floods. So there's this, they feel like they're being attacked when really they're just being made to answer. They've been made answerable to the things they did, right? So you look at that, and then you look at all those guys, Avena, Sean Tembo, Vena Luvinda. It's all people who don't like the status quo coming together and putting a foot down to say, hey, we will not bow down to these guys who have been going after us per se, you know. So I think we can't overlook those things in the whole situation. Let's say if Tassila, they didn't, maybe they didn't even freeze their assets, or they still have all their farms, they still have all those floods, they didn't make any appearances in court. I doubt this we would see something like this unfold.
Yeah, that's a good observation or good narrative. I'm seeing some truth in there, and I could, most Zambians would look at it that way, to say, look, why are they doing this? Maybe because they have all these court cases. Okay, and
They haven't been happy. That's the thing. It's like it's on record. They have not liked this whole thing because they feel like they didn't do anything, right? From what they've been behaving, they feel like they didn't steal, you know. So yeah.
Okay, so who wants to talk? Who wants to talk next now?
Can I?
Matanda. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Sakala. Yes, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Matanda.
Okay, let me go. Let me come in.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, maybe also, yes, I also, I think I heard what the council Sangwa was saying, especially when it comes for the body of the president, where it says there's no law which is we can quote to say this law says the president should be buried by the states. But there's one thing we have to know, that we are not coming from nowhere. We are coming from somewhere. Even in we have cultures and norms. That is what we have. Even in villages and whatever, there are those cultures that they follow, but it's not written somewhere where someone will go and pull. So those cultures that are there to show respect. So now, when you're trying to bring politics, especially where death is concerned, it's not good. So it shows respect. We have lost about 5 presidents, and we have a way how we bury our president to show that respect. So now that becomes our norms. It's now part of us. And then also, I agree with Brian, what he said, especially on this. Me, I don't know the problem. These issues to say the mother, the Tasilas and Daliso, they are in court. They are not guilty. If they maybe acquired those things in a light way, why they are fearing to say we are going to court? You go there so that you explain how you acquired that. After explaining, the court you're going to discharge you. No, this is acquired correctly. It's end there. There's no crime.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think also the family, I don't know those advisors who advise them maybe in such a way. I think this is the opportunity they're supposed maybe to use to the president. Like I remember this Kasama Central MPs, the daughter to GBM. I think it came out strong. I think the PF stood to start complaining. No, you are mingling with the UPNG. Actually, the one who is maybe they jailed your father, something like that. But the daughter came out in open. No, I don't want to use my father's name in your politics. Stay on your lane. I think from that time, there's a time the president went to Kasama. The daughter was part of that entourage. Later, what happened? So certain things I don't know where they are getting. If they are following these Venaruvindas, they are digging their own grave. So now all this, what happens? How will be the relationship? Are they going to really stay in Zambia what is next for them? Because there's life after death. How are going to cope up now?
Mm.
The editor is gone, and also this they will run away. Even the Makebi Zulu will go away. What happens to them? This is the opportunity, I suppose, now to unite. What are we going to do? Because after that now, the president, how are we going to keep this family? The father worked. He's now not in politics. But now they've just messed up everything. And now the president announced to say, morning declared. Now it's like now they are 50-50 with the government. We are going to ban in South Africa. What is that? I submit Vachan.
That's a good submission. Good submission. But Danny, are you there, Danny?
Yeah, I don't think I think he dropped a little bit there.
Oh, he dropped it.
Yeah.
It's not there. Okay.
And
So
then
yeah,
one thing I wanted to add, Vachad, just on the final submission,
go ahead.
like I feel like this is a like a turning point in terms of like just like as a country, like we haven't had unity in the longest time, right? And this has just like laid things to bear that the divisions are deep rooted, because for people to even use a dead body to settle scores, for me it just shows you it's very deep, right? And I think for me, I feel like this is why I've always emphasized on systems. I think back home, the systems are what fails us, and they bore over things like this, right? If our systems were good enough to go after people who are even in office, let's say if we had a proper judicial system, right? Tasila gets a land in a gazetted forest, or Daliso gets like Ama highlights how many of those, or the president's wife all of a sudden builds like 50 something flats. If our judicial system was in a perfect shape and our system was good, they would have like inquired on those things, right? Even when their dad was president, right? Look at how nothing is held accountable, right? But what you see now is all those crimes people commit, they're only answerable when they leave power, right? So it's a carryover. It's a carryover, right? You know what I mean, right? And even though Balungu Tawawalenye, right? You could make the argument that other people they went after them, right? Like we've talked about they still went after them, right? But if HSG win presidency, no one would have gone after them. So I think because of our failure in system, this is where we are now. Because we it's a cycle, right? It was Chiluba doing stuff to KK, Mwanawasa doing stuff to Chiluba, right? Sata doing stuff to Arabi, right? Lungu, same thing doing Arabi, right? Now HH, to some extent, you can make the argument that he's going after the Lungus, right? So at the end of the day, I think it's because of all these deep-rooted battles over the years are what led to where we are now.
But
Because
okay. On that point, before I forget, I think HH came out and said, I'm not going to prosecute Eddie Lungu, and I'm not going to lift his immunity. Look at all these other former presidents. Their immunities were lifted. Imagine this. Imagine this. If ECL's immunity was lifted and he died right now, how would have been the narrative? But looking at HH, he didn't have that vendetta to say, I think I need to go against this guy. I need to, because of what he did to me. Because if scale to scale,
yeah,
if we had to combine what ECL did to HH and what HH has actually he hasn't even done to ECL.
Mm-hmm.
It's 0-1. I mean, it's 1-10. Because
Yeah, that's very true. I agree. I agree. But I
I
just
mean,
feel like on
you see
one
what
hand,
I'm
yes,
saying?
he did. Yeah, I agree with you. He didn't really go after him. If there's anything, he didn't go after him, but like he went behind him, right? At the end of the day, because if you look at the way those guys are appearing in court for all the things, like Havana, like basically it's like me. I tell you, we won't do anything to you.
Mm,
Next thing you see, umwana wenu balemuletanya. Next thing you
mm,
see, mukasho balemuletanya. So
mm.
like as a man, that actually even hurts more than if they had just come for you directly.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
if you look at the how like those guys were just in back pages, right? Every other week, kid, wife, I'm a concubine.
Mm,
Like basically, like he went around him, and I think HH they were building a case against him, right? Because that's why he was planting all the money he was stealing, right? Alevika Mubana, Mubena Mutale Mwanza, all those,
mm, mm,
Avena Face Musonda, all those, right?
mm,
So basically, it's kind of like indirectly say Otato Akwikate,
mm,
but slowly they're kind of coming behind after
mm,
you behind the scenes, right? So I feel like that has contributed to him feeling that Valem start that. You know what I mean?
mm.
It's not like they went exactly after him because of immunity, but you look at everybody around him. Look at when a GBM, everybody, when a Kampiongo, when a Chama, when a Nawakwi, like everybody around him, like slowly, they were being taken down, right?
Mm.
So to him, Lungu, I'm not saying it's a right thing. To him, he's
Mm.
looking at it like, oh, this man in public, he's saying, oh, he's not doing anything to me, and yet he's slowly tearing down my empire and my family and my empire, right? Because you can
Well,
also make the
but
argument.
I think the other thing we need to look at is he is not the one doing this. It's not HH. It's the law. Right?
Yeah,
So that's
exactly.
where we need, that's where we need to
It's a
that's
law,
where we need
yes,
to
it's a law. It's a law is
hold
visiting
on,
them, right?
hold on. I think
Conveniently, the
that's
law
where
is
we need
visiting
to
conveniently.
no, but that's where hold on. That's where we need to clear the air. This is not HH saying go after this, go after this, go after that.
Mm. Yeah, that's the thing. They'll never say it. Even Lungu, same thing. Like it's not like Lungu
No,
will
no,
say
no, no,
that.
no. But look. Here's the thing. Lungu is under immunity.
Yes.
If you want to go, if the government or the investigation agencies
Mm-hmm.
wanted to go for Lungu, his immunity had to be lifted first. Okay?
Yes,
But
absolutely. Yeah.
his
But
children, his wife, and they don't subscribe to that immunity. So the law will just take its course. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah, obviously, conveniently
that's
so,
where
right?
we are.
Think about it.
So the
Conveniently
laws,
so. Look at Arena
well, it's
Mumbi,
not
right?
convenient. It's not a matter of convenience, but
Think
it's a
about
matter of law.
Mumbi. Remember Mumbi, that incident with a
Mm,
gun, right?
mm.
The law didn't do anything, right? So somehow the law was protecting him, right? It was protecting her because remember Mumbi P claimed that she had the gun. Remember that UPND card that was shot?
Well, it was it was more like a hear and say,
Yes, it
and
was
then
a
the
hear
other
and
person
say.
said that no, it was the guy that had the gun, and
Yes, exactly. But
so
the
the hear
moment
and
they came out of
say
power,
it's
the
a
law now acted. So
mm,
like put two and two together. You think the law just decided like, oh, why didn't we handle that case? Now let's go in, right? So at the end
mm,
of the day, like that's what like our politics are, right? We even if we don't outrightly say, oh, we're going after you, the law will come after you conveniently. You get what I mean, right? So ultimately, because the law is coming after you conveniently, it's always gonna be tied with the current government, right?
mm,
You get what I mean, right? So because of that same systematic approach where like every time whoever is in power, but let's enjoy, whoever is not in power, but makot. If
mm.
that doesn't end, it's just gonna be the same cycle, right? We need a system where it doesn't matter. Look at our Garin combo. Do you know why he was fired?
I actually don't even know. Actually,
We all know why he was fired, right?
yeah.
And it's not like he was incompetent at his job.
Mm.
No, something went down. He must have been involved into these same corrupt deals.
Why don't you reveal it? What you know?
I think it's more like I'm not, I don't want to be put on record, but I heard, there was something related with corruption, cutting
Mm.
deals,
Mhm.
and all the like, right? But
Mhm.
they didn't really pursue it, like, well, like, vamos to investigate. So imagine when HH is not in power, the next government, they'll revisit that because
Mm.
everybody knows. You get? And then when they visit them, we will still say that, oh, it's the law that's visiting them, right?
Mm.
When really the law should have visited them from the very get go. Look at what's happened in the cool Ministry of Health. You saw
Mm.
what happened for them to pull out the funding. The
Mm. Mm.
corruption is there. It's there. If somebody tells you, gives you evidence, this is what
Mm.
happens, follow up, you don't follow up, means you're also
Mm.
eating from there, right? So ultimately, if you don't act now and show impartiality, then people won't believe you when you say, it's a law that's because they'll look at those things, say, okay, why is there so many things going wrong? Look at the law, it's there.
Okay.
Eh?
No,
So, but you get my
that's
point.
good.
My point is this: I think the law visits you
Mm.
conveniently, right?
Not conveniently. No, no, no. I don't know. I don't know if you can call it conveniently.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it just follows the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You've mentioned Combo. You know, being leading, that kind of institution, where there's money that's been provided at a large scale, and
Mm-hmm.
who knows what happened,
Yeah, we
or
don't
what
know
would
what happened.
happen.
Maybe a fallout, but to me, it just seems like
But
you cut a deal. You say to Alaku, we will drop you, right? And then because and you publicly come out and say, hey, I'm not gonna be in active politics. Everything is all good. You
no,
know what
no,
I mean? It's not
but
like Bama Sebofia Baba Sheshe Akona Kumbi, Mamon.
mm, mm,
Baba Sheshe Akona Kumbi. But I think
but
ultimately, I think the point I'm trying to make here, Atanda, is
mm,
we have to do away with politics of agency, right? You can revenge. Even revenge, you don't have to outrightly say, hey, I'm coming for you. Remember what you did. You can still revenge, quite silent. You never under silent but deadly.
mm.
Ule mwana chipani chobe bale toba. You know we can feel. You
I
start.
divided.
You get what I mean? Ulesanga,
Mm,
which tefi umwana we bamuletanya ali mukoti. Which tefi
uh,
ama asef na bamu freezing no mwana oli
uh,
kumbi. Which tefi
uh,
mukasho we
uh,
bamupoke school wa.
uh.
Which
But
tefi.
but
So at the end of the
but
day,
Bonedi,
it's the same thing.
What's under? What's
go ahead.
under?
Uh,
Now,
Yeah.
you get my point, though, right?
no, I get your point. I get your point. I get your point.
At the end of the day,
Vatumba, go ahead. Vatumba, you have something to say.
Yes, Mr. Yes, but Brian, I think it was the other day I was listening to Chirufya Tayari.
yes, okay. Mhm,
Yes, and what Chirufya Tayari said,
mhm.
I think in his broadcast, I think he little bit condemned the late president
Yes, yeah.
after when he lost power.
Mhm.
There was agreement. I think you can remember after that
Yes, yes.
there was that a little bit of tension. So there was the negotiation which went on,
Mhm,
and then there was agreement which was made, which
mhm,
was according to Tayari was saying the agreement which was made is that the rate should not come back to politics. I will not touch him.
mhm,
I will not touch him. Let him. I will spare him. He will go and rest.
mhm,
But the agreement, let not him comes back to politics. There was
mhm.
agreement.
But
Then
but do
later
you
on
think
after
that's
that,
okay? Before you proceed, do you think that's okay?
yeah, it's not okay. But okay, for him, for that agreement to come up, which was coming from somewhere. Why that agreement came in? He was. I think he's scared. If this
he
one,
couldn't give up
what
the
I've
power.
done
Remember, I think we
what
all
I've
forget.
done,
Remember, Mpando. Remember, it's
uh-huh,
funny now that you said that. People forget that the guy he could have kept being president if he almost did actually. If it wasn't for those army guys, if let's say one
yes,
of the army guys was like, yes, we are with Lungu, he shouldn't give up power. We could have had a dictator staying in power.
yes. So now there was that agreement, and then for that agreement to come, which means there was something fishy that he's scared of, because you can't make that as an agreement. So now that agreement, when it was made, he resigned and wrote a letter to the secretary, to the cabinet of Secretary Khan. He submitted that letter.
Yes.
But he was still appearing on what? On the PF, on the names.
The
We call it
names.
Lesser Society. Yes.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
that statement, according to Tayari, didn't sit well with the current government, because now it's like you don't know where this person stands. If your name is still appearing on the titles, you are still the owner. Anytime you can come and get it. That is what it means. So now they said, we are not comfortable with this. And for sure, deep, then can come to for the rate. He wanted to come back. And those people that surrounded him, I think they misread him and whatever, everything. So now, that's why now they started now. Waikata koyu, uyu naye bamuleta koyu. Because the guy was not honest enough.
No, he
Until
wasn't.
finally now, he came into power. What is next? We are back now in the field. So let's go on the ring. So this is what, according to the Tayari, what Tayari was then kind of said. There was less agreement which was made, but the other party, he didn't fulfill, because the name was still appearing Council of Society. On that part, it didn't sit well. So that's why kwamba koko na tunkula kwa tumone maybe wibu kisheko.
But if Tungla Pano, no Pano.
You
You
know,
see,
but
and that's the thing is
you know,
like I think Lungu. The thing with Lungu is like I think the thing is like he's always been surrounded by people who don't mean well, right? And that, it's an odd saying. Valandanava kalamba. Company wanga na environment. Depicts how your life ends up. You know, because
Exactly.
it's the same thing we're seeing. Basically, is what he's taking to his grave is chaos and confusion. You look at the way he ascended to power. It's always yeah, kunyunya formula. Everything. Nothing
You
is
think, huh?
straightforward. Mhm. So ultimately, because if he would have
Very
been smart
true.
enough to say, okay, nindusa, and he knew, let's say if the way they're saying that they even used to tell government that Muluere. So if you are really sick and you are the life-threatening illness, why then put yourself in politics that are stressful, or break the pact that you're talking about? For what, right? So he needed somebody to advise him to say, hey, let's focus on
health.
your health. And had he had those benefits he was entitled with, he could just go and seek the best medical attention, because he could just use those benefits as a former head of state.
Yeah, that I want to do. No, that's why this issue is very, very, very complicated.
It
To be
is, it
honest,
is. Yeah.
it's complicated for the fact that, look, umuntu wakaena, I think because of the let me just put it out there, the enmity or the hatred that he had for HH, he didn't think for a day that HH would be, reciprocate, even if after he came into politics. Because when somebody comes in, it's the law. Okay? If you are a former president, then you come back into politics, you lose certain benefits.
Yeah.
Please. The people of Zambia need to understand this. You'd lose those. It's a law. Okay? No matter how all these politicians are saying, go and Google as a Zambian yourself, go and get the Zambian constitution and read it for yourself to understand these things. Because abantu bakalami bepa, because I'm a lawyers, they are there just to make money. Telling you. These lawyers, me, I don't trust them because at the end of the day, it's a paycheck. At the end of the day, it's how they personally look at issues. But the law itself, it says, ngawafuma as a former lawyer Zambia, ngawafuma munanikani wafuma ku retirement, wawera kuma politics. Yalya mananikani yalya, ama benefits over kupela that you're entitled to. Okay? Vakupela motoka, vakupela ama maid, vakupela, holiday, anywhere in the world destination. Kyonse fila nishinombo washashani, washita forfeit.
Yeah, you forfeit all those things. Yeah.
Okay? So, we want to work with Zambia. Mwira ponta, don't point at HH. No. Ni constitution yenu mwevana Zambia, ereranda. Constitution yenu, iyaba enshrined. Muntu liyonse kutaya mkuiberenge. Awa iberenge la fewe mwinefi. Tapali ulebe po muntu, efo chabafi. So, nga mwaya iberenga mwebene mukamona, chawe kanshi. Abena president nga bafuma pa chifulo. Baba former president. And then they decided, bane, ndefo kubwekera ma politics. Fyonse fyo, nishwastashani, washita forfeit. There's no way, because Trumfana sana na former president, ine as a president, na ole ali munandi sana. Leke ni ndre mupera fyonse, ndre mu stew, alestana nikane, enjoying our benefits, but nishari were na ma politics. Tefo chalo chibomba. Avena PF, the way they work is they work with politics of confusion and politics of ignorance. Tabasta understand if into a problem yaba PF, but PF va fe bantu akobati nga mwa senda fe gwedede today ni nachi diwo they don't even think to say they don't ask those questions. That's why even this situation tabeshi be fileshtika. But they blame HH that how HH alipokele Lungu ma benefits yakwe tare musunga bwino. HH ni law ya pokele. Okay? So all those arguments, nama accusations, everybody point takuli by HH, they're now in void because it's got nothing to do with it. It's a law. Ni law fear for ya feel. Okay? Mukaberenge mwebantu akwa. Go and read. Kwate culture yako berenga. Like I'm a politician yaba. They will mislead you. They will mislead you mwebena Zambia because they will just mislead you from nowhere. And then you matama we can't abantu kumushibambi because they don't understand HH ipalu HH stepere por Lungu. Lungu aifire fe omwine. Condition yakwe, it's well documented. He had that condition even before he was a president. Well documented. Okay? Well before he was a president. Now, ngetwafika nomba iri ashira kuna yakumuchita ona. Olo muntu alistire nani kane alistire retire. Olo alibwerero ma politics. Ngawafwa. Still, you are supposed to be honored. Katushishive abantu where the confusion is. I don't know where the confusion is. You know, Tumba, where's the confusion?
Yeah, the confusion, why I see the confusion, I think the key point, it's reading and understand what the Constitution says. But I think majority of us, we don't read and we don't understand. That's why you are going um to believe so what someone is going to tell you. And on this point, the loudest is those the PF, the Rovindas and others. And now the majority follows. Those people at the PF secretariat, I don't know those. Those I don't know came from, I don't know, Chiboria, Kwakanyamakura. They don't even understand. They're just talking, chanting something that they don't even understand it. The law is clear, and this law is made from the parliament, and it's our law. And whatever it says, that is what is supposed to be followed. And the time, I think, even when he was coming back in politics, he said, "Tuma benefit uko." That is what he said. He knew that those benefits were going to be scrapped off.
He knew he had a lot of money. He knew he had a lot of money. He had a lot of money. Vasakala, is that you? Hello? Hello? Mr. Sakala, is that you? Anyway, so like I was saying, I think number we need to look at you know, what we call traditional. So traditional need at Wakonka, whereby everybody's buried at Embassy Park. That's the tradition we know. Ni tradition. Ni pa Embassy Park. Okay? So if the argument is tradition, the tradition is Embassy Park. Epalala Kaunda, the first president, by the way, Epalala, all these other great presidents, great leaders. Why would one Edgar Lungu not want to be buried next to the kings? That's why he should be buried traditionally. And again, at the same time, by the law enacted by Parliament. Okay? It may not be in the Constitution, but it's a law enacted in Parliament. Because there's not every law will be in the Constitution, but there are going to be laws that are going to be enacted and approved by the people of Zambia. The president, Ngafa former, listed funeral, chapwa. As simple as that. To Zambia, you know, try to deceive the people of Zambia. No. It's as simple as that. Kuyafe, Yabana national mourning, 7 days. And by the way, the president even held on to say, look, Nala Vika an extra, okay, 9 days. So the president didn't cancel the mourning or the state funeral or national mourning. He didn't cancel it. It was already over. But because of, you know, the other camp, the family of the Lungus, he offered to say, Nalami Perako 9 days na impi, while we bury him. After they refused to bring back the body, he said, okay, fine. Now you're leaving us in limbo. And there's no way we can be living in limbo. So that's how the whole program ended. They say, look, yeah, I think let's discuss this at a different day, at a different, forum. So let nobody confuse you with all these laws, all these what you call them, guidelines. It's simple and straightforward. President Ngafwa, former president, Ngafwa.
So you have to read the story. Remember,
Mkwai Mwaiseni.
Mwaiseni Wakalamba. Mwaiseni.
Ndi England.
Mwali bwera.
Ali bwela Bakalamba first. Yeah, okay, we sorting my issues before some things happen. It's very important. It's very important.
That's good. That's good.
You can't have everything.
The base was good.
Everything.
You had the good youth. Hello, you're frozen now.
Hello, let me just get back to a place of better network.
Hello.
Go
Ahead.
We had a good harvest. Everything went on well, and we are ready for eating now.
That's good.
We are ready to just eat. Yes.
Just to eat.
Just to eat. That's the only job we have. That's the only. Ukusenda vya matava. Kuya na kuchigayo mkugaisha. Imagine ka. And the other thing is kusenda sunflower no kuitwala kuchigayo mwapanga cooking oil.
Oh yeah.
Then ngamwa fima remenda fyama cooking oil filia. Mwaisa na ayo mataba yanga
Wahamwami internet yenulesha na maenge bani. Mr. Mwami is frozen. Tumba, you're there?
Yes, I'm back.
So yeah, so what were we talking about? So we were just winding up anyway.
Oh, okay.
Mwami, are you there? Hold on.
Yes, I'm here.
Internet yenulesha na maenge.
Okay, apa yachita behave number ka?
Yachita behave. So
yes.
You've joined late. We just we just were talking about issues yava nani kanyava. But ECL, his burial, why the family they want to bury him to South Africa as opposed to Zambia. He's been a statesman. Obviously he's been a statesman.
Yes.
And there's no way we can allow umuntu what statesman aba buried kuchalo chimbi.
Yes.
But that's where we were at. I don't know what you think about that.
My thoughts are not different from yours. That's the first. And the kind of person he had become was someone who saved Zambia, who served in Zambia's highest office. There's something that is just attached to being a former president. You're not an ordinary person. You're not a celebrity, for lack of a better word. A celebrity as an occasion, but a person of Edgar has a legacy. There's a difference between an occasion and a legacy. Because a legacy is coming from a long time thing. It's a culture. You led people. What are you going to be remembered of? What will make you different from others? Because in our search for leadership, we tend to compare the old and the new. Now, who would want to be compared to this guy that has just chosen to be buried out of Zambia? The legacy has left is going to haunt. It will haunt many, many people, including the innocent ones, because there has to be there's precedence. He has broken precedence. What are we going to remember him for? Yes, he did works, but okay. Sontepo, okay, Sontepo wamushika. Sontepo wabombere. Okay, Sontepo wamushikire. What do we say? What happened? What, you see, why are we afraid to be buried in our own countries? We run for treatment outside the country. Hey, you fear to be buried. And even that thing where they are saying his last words, you know, I've been admitted before. I've undergone an operation, you know, where I kind of I could not remember saying anything like I don't want to see you, or I don't want to see you near my coffin. I don't remember saying. Where do you have that time? We want to time. Look at Mwanawasa before he died. Mwanawasa left a will. He left a will, and he had it recorded. It was real, recorded, and when he played, you can't dispute that. But this one is raising dust and a lot of noise because it's not authentic. It's just word of mouth, which anyone can pass on. We are not privy to it, but the fact that we're not privy does not make it authentic. You see, it leaves room for doubt and a lot of speculation. For one to merely say he does not want such and such a person to attend the funeral, to attend the burial. No, you see, his legacy is such that he's one person who died Nechkonko, and he cannot have peace. How do you just create peace with your God like that? You die without making amends with the people who you leave behind. No, it's not just adding up. And the worst of head of state who even declared the National Day of Prayer. In his mind, what does National Day of Prayer and reconciliation? See, that word comes, and reconciliation. He couldn't reconcile. It's him, in fact, who was supposed to reconcile with Hichilema, not Hichilema reconciling with him. He did a lot of wrongs. That chap, in his legacy that we are talking about, he did a lot of wrongs to the opposition candidates. He needed time to apologize. Say, okay, I've left power, but I'm sorry for everything that I did. Hichilema does not owe him an apology. What wrong did Hichilema do? Where is it? Did Hichilema stone him? No. Did he do any physical harm to him? Nothing. That guy voluntarily left office. He wrote to say, I'm back into active politics. The law will be applied. He made himself vulnerable. You see? He exposed his danger. He exposed himself to say, okay, I don't need these things. I don't need that. So he lost the entitlements. And even when we come to talk about his immunity, he's lucky. If HH was meant to be vengeful, he had numbers in parliament to lift the immunity, but he didn't do that because he knew the kind of person he was talking about. So Edgar owes Chilema an apology. He died a man that was not forgiving. He owes HH an apology. Not the other way around. Not the other way around. No. Not the other way around.
Vachitumba atishani murera ndaposhani hapa. Mr. Chitumba, are you there?
Yes. I think for me, I concur with the previous speaker. Just the truth be told. That's why when I was starting, I think I started from the way back, then building up of what happened. So now, comparing to what they are claiming today, who mistreated who?
Yes.
That is the question. When we say, okay, let's just bring or we start watching those videos of what was happening. Let's remember Copper Belt, HH, Vapitanama Bullet. There was the country in 2021, it was ozone.
Yes.
There was tear gas. Valungu tavapemelepo tear gas.
No.
Tavapemelepo tear gas. What happened kunyuka sama? There was a kafafa there. Oh, let's just that's what I was saying. Those words where they are saying, he said this before that. Me, I don't agree. When you go to Bible, there are those people, that woman that they found was doing adultery. And then vasamtwala Jesus. Then Jesus he said, what happened? Now let's bring it in this. Let's apply that principle now in this situation. For him to come and leave those words. Honestly speaking. Because that principle now, it applies to us. Let's put it in this situation. Who was supposed to apologize to who?
The one who was supposed to apologize is the one who had, is it the soldiers or a troop of people that went to kunyela mumpoto shakwa ichilema munganda bali omunandi bashabanyela mona mumpoto. That guy is supposed to apologize. Na mwisho anshamulumbuleshina, but that regime titimwe mwakonko omuntu, yes, na mkonko omuntu tamusangire nomba what have the ports got to do? Uti mwanyela shani munganda uti mwanyela shani munganda nangushua nilo imisumisho kuyanyela munganda ya muntu.
What it is here now, they are saying it's HH ewafunishepo ama benefit amu block. So even as we are going to say Ewa is the one who did that. Let's happen what happened at Unza to that is it Shimujila?
Shimujila, yes.
That is today. Yes. What happened? What happened to Samansama? What happened to those women at the Minister of Justice?
Did he apologize?
Those are the questions.
He has left a legacy of, he has taught his fellow pathetic fools never to apologize. It's not important to apologize. You can only apologize maybe, I don't know. Okay. What do the PF guys learn out of this, out of such a leader? A leader who can never say sorry for the wrong that he did? No, it's not. That's not the way to go. A legacy should be, you leave a good legacy. Simple. A bad one should not even be talked about. It's not what people want to hear. People this time want to spend bundles. They want to spend time on good things. So simply speaking, his legacy, if it's bad, as it is.
And also, let's remember also what happened to Sean Tembo. The same Sean Tembo was today speaking the loudest. What happened? Yes. What happened to the Chimbakambwiri?
No, it's short memory. Otherwise, it should not be like that. The legacy for ECL, yes, has been bad to say the least. He was a leader, he was human, but his wrongs outweighed the goodness because human life was lost and he never even for once commented or passed a remark that showed some sorrow. To him, all was well. What kind of leader is that? In these times, we need someone who is able to realize, oh, Appa, I was wrong. Okay, take for example, what were his advisors telling him? Okay, let's forget about the legacy. What were his advisors telling him? Do you mean his advisors never even advised him to say, Bwana Appa Bati, Appa Molako Bwana, can you say something like this? His advisors, what were they telling him?
And you know, here's something that I think most Zambians don't understand or don't know. National mourning. If you are president and when you die, in 7 days, 7 days mourning. If you are currently sitting president.
Yes.
If you are a former president, it's actually 5 days.
5 days.
Okay? It's actually 5 days. But the president has that discretion. Okay?
To add more days.
To give you, you know what I mean? He's got that discretion and he did that. What more do you want from the president? Yeah? What more do you want from the president? He gave you that, gave you more days and all that stuff, or whatever you need. This is very unfair and very un-Zambian, to say the least. Very, very un-Zambian. Very un-Zambian, to say the least, and very unfair on the side of the President HH. Because he gave him that leeway to say, look, even though you're only entitled to 5 days, I'm going to give you 7 days. And even after that 7 days, he offered another week.
Yes.
Of which they died, and then what did they do? They disappointed the government and the President HH just to make him look bad. See, the thing is, what they're trying to do is to make him look bad in the international community, like he's somebody that's hated when it's not. Okay? HH is loved in the country, worldwide, actually. But they were trying to push that narrative. They were trying to bring politics in this thing. Now they have left, and then HH say, okay, fine, you guys do your thing. And then people are going to charge.
The friends of HH, have got a lot of influence. Friends of HH have got a lot of influence, more than the friends of Edgar. When the friends of HH speak, they will speak with reason. But when the friends of Edgar speak, they will speak with a lot of nonsense, nothing much of substance. You can take time to listen to the voice of reason from the friends of HH, but not those for Edgar, the cadres. But they did Wadi. Just Nshima, basic Nshima. They are meeting at a place where there are no toilets, Parichiro, and you expect a foreign dignitary to come and sign a book of condolences. No. We need to move away from that narrative. Edgar's legacy has been very bad. Maybe himself was a good person. Maybe he had bad advisors. Or maybe he had bad followers. Maybe we blame the followers. The first follower I'm going to blame is that Kaiser guy. Me, I was never a follower, so I can't be blamed for his bad legacy. He's no adi chumbu munsholo wauja. Tapade fiale umfa kubantu. Because ngale umfa pufimo. You can learn to say sorry. Now, if you go actually into Yangala so, blade their bola, I saw mcha sweeper so up on I. You just look at the way he's crying. You are just tempted to say, oh, sorry, mana, sorry. That's how we were brought up. But not this arrangement where we torturing your friend who just wants to get that political office. Which he just wants to get that temporal power which you also have. But you've made it very difficult, or is it very impossible for him to get it? No. And once he wants to get it, kutampukula mshupa numba. Iwe, awe, you are a Tonga, there will be a Tonga president, but not this one. Okay, listen to that statement. You are going to have a Tonga president one day in Zambia, but not this one. Who hated who?
It was personal.
It was personal. See?
So
you can't have a head of state singling out.
Let's wind up. We need to wind up. So we need to wind up Bashumba. Your closing remarks.
Okay.
And then we go that way, and then I'll put my closing remarks, and then we close the program. Was Bashumba.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my closing remarks. I think those now. I think this. It's up to us now, those who have remained. The Red Sea has gone. And maybe the advice to especially the PF, me, especially when I look at the advisors in PF, I think they are not doing it well. Because when you just follow what happened to JJ, it's because of the PF. What happens to Munyia is because of the PF. And then what has happened now to the Reds? It's the PF. So now it's a lesson now to those people now surrounding. They have to open up their eyes and see where they are going, and to avoid that route. And also maybe to the family, let the only family to sit and make a decision than bringing these people who surrounded them from the time they lost power until today. They are not helping them, but they are making things more worse. That's why I said first to say the mistake made first. Me, that is when I even thought where I think is going will not be okay. The announcement of the death. If that happened, if they were just mature enough and realize this one is a former head of state, they are supposed first of all to inform the government. Discuss underground with the government. This is what has transpired here. This and this. The government is the one who's supposed to come out and announce. But then when they started, the government comes later on. And then they started blaming the government. The government, they took time to announce. Honestly speaking, the government it's not something like it's not personal. A government, first of all, should be a confirmation. First of all, they have to confirm this is happened, what happened, so that when they go and announce, they are announcing things which is in order, not just announcing anyhow. Yes, they have to do the verifications, not just getting from this one because it has told us, so we have to go and announce. No, but there was no that protocol. That's when I said where we are going, there will be problem, there will be kafwafwa. So the government was the first supposed to announce, inform, no, this is what happened, then announce. But now, all this now came in, whatever, no, we'll bring the bottle this day, the day comes, changes, no, this and this. Honestly speaking, what is that? And then where are the elders, the uncles, the aunties, those big people to come in and to say, I think let's go in this direction. But what you are seeing is those are the people in front. Where are those people? You can't say that is the only family. No. There are those extended families. They have to come and to put this, but I think I don't know. So now that's what I was saying. This exposed the family, the entire families for the Reds. What types of husband he owns. If these things can happen now. And also it is if this happened at a
Okay, Bachitumba. Okay, wind up and then Vamwami, I think you can go and put up your last remarks.
Okay. First of all, it's a lesson to us who have been left. If you were Chanda, nampusana na bachandakazi ya nampusana na ba whoever, make amends while you're alive. Don't fear to confront someone. Just go and communicate. Don't have the fear. Communicate. My friend, despite our differences, this and this is what I have to tell you. Otherwise, we shall perish as fools. We need to live as brothers and sisters. He has perished, and he can't say sorry. Even for the incumbent president, if ever he, in his mind, in his hearts of hearts, he has maybe said some bad words about him, he has lost an opportunity of saying, oh, I'm sorry, Edgar, for this or what, that kind of thing. So it's a lesson to all of us that are living. Say, oh, one day we shall depart this earth. Then the
You're frozen.
burial, the purported burial of him in South Africa, HH is still magnanimous enough. His doors are open. They still have a last chance. Just like Jesus has given us a last chance, even on, you can even repent your sins on your deathbed. PF right now is on its deathbed. They can go to HH and say, oh, Bakateka, or Lungu family, Bakateka, I think we were wrong. If Jesus can forgive us, minutes before you die, what pride is in this family of the Lungu, where they feel they cannot approach the head of state to make amends? Pride goes before a fall, and they have created this fall of the legacy of Lungu. The legacy has fallen because of the Lungu foolish selfishness. The Lungu family selfish. His legacy. See, Zambians were growing up, we are living 10 years' time. Who will remember Edgar? Who will remember him? PF is a going concern. If they had if PPF had maybe 90 members of parliament, I'd have said, yeah, it's fine, then it's a force to reckon with. But look at their numbers. They are dwindling. They are just claiming that they are popular, but you're asking for more time to campaign in Lume's elections. Come on.
So, yeah.
I yield.
Yeah, so with me, I can concur with what you've said. In a nutshell, I think the PF are killing themselves. One. Two, the Lungu family is falling in the trap of the PF. The Lungu family should have had people that can speak for them as a family. That was trying to speak in Senga, I don't know, but she was trying to speak in Senga, or I don't know, and she failed terribly. It's more like my Nsenga, and she was claiming to be the sister for Edgar Lungu, but
it was my first time to see her. It was my first time
all these years.
After all these years. After all these years.
Yes. So I mean, it's a little bit tricky. It's a little bit, funny at the same time, because we've never heard of her, and even her herself, she was even surprised, obviously, to say, "Oh, that's my brother." Well, so in any case, they've shot themselves in the foot as a family.
Yes,
because they now going to have to beg for mercy, and from the start they should have done that and gone to the president and said, look, fine, this is what you want. Because when somebody wants to give him a state funeral, then it means well, right?
Yeah.
Looking at the
Yes.
history between the two, it's a goodwill, because that's why people say, me, if I was HH, I would have said, okay, fine, nothing, no state funeral, do whatever you want, do whatever. But even after all this, he's still saying, my doors are open.
Open. See,
But you see,
he's a
the Lungu
he's a
family,
god.
I don't know the hatred that they have. Whether hatred
They don't believe.
katusinga palifimo fatatuishive.
They don't
I don't
believe that they
understand
are
it.
out of power. They don't
And
believe
that's
that
what
they're out of power.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And constitutional, and it's not traditional. Therefore, twakola fye mu Zambia.
No.
Kwava omuntu wakotta omutima wakwe bati wapata fye omuntu fye paka kumfwa nshamunapo nshatala munapo. First time nde munapo. First time in my whole life. First time I'm saying it. But
yeah,
it's up to them and how they want to build the narrative. But people of Zambia still, they will have that thing in mind. But they will remember these days. They will remember them and say, this is what the Lungu family did. Right?
Yeah.
Ndala Wandi, have a nice night and enjoy your rest of the day.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good night.